There are 8 seduction archetypes, and chances are you've been trying to embody the wrong one. Each archetype has its own natural allure, the thing that makes people drawn to you effortlessly and addicted to your energy. Today we're uncovering all of them so you can find yours and activate what makes you irresistible. Welcome back to It Girl Secrets. Today we're discovering your seduction archetype and what makes you dangerously alluring. If you don't know what archetypes are, archetypes were first introduced by psychiatrist Carl Jung and are simply reoccurring character types that show up in stories, myths, and human psychology. Seduction archetypes are basically patterns of magnetism, different ways people naturally attract and influence others. Understanding which ones resonate with you the most can unlock powerful insights into your natural allure. I'll be breaking down 8 seduction archetypes, what makes each one magnetic, and how to activate that energy within you. As you listen, you might recognize yourself in more than one. Pay attention to 1 to 2 archetypes that feel the most you. Those are likely your primary energies. And keep in mind, this is a fun, self-exploratory framework, not rules you have to live by. So with that being said, let's dive in, starting with the Siren. The Siren archetype comes from Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, sirens were creatures often depicted as half woman, half fish, or bird. They possessed incredible beauty and lured sailors to their demise through their songs alone. The modern interpretation is slightly different, but the core energy stays the same. She's often glamorous, regal, mysterious, often a classic femme fatale. Think Jennifer Check from Jennifer's Body, Angelina Jolie, Effie Stoneham, Catherine Pierce from The Vampire Diaries, Maddy Perez, Marilyn Monroe, Cleopatra, and Samantha Jones. She's the girl everyone wants to be, mesmerizing, magnetic, and sometimes a little dark. She's deeply in tune with her sexuality, and quick note here, especially for my younger or more impressionable viewers, this does not mean you need to sexualize yourself for anyone. No one gets to pressure you into thinking that exposure is the price of attractiveness. Society pushes that narrative hard, but it's simply not true. Being in tune with your sexuality actually means being comfortable in your own body, aware of your power, and grounded in self-respect, something that can be felt without revealing anything at all. The Siren also magnetizes through mystery and dark feminine energy. She doesn't overshare. She's not shy, but she's not an open book either. People are drawn to mystery because anything unfinished pulls us in psychologically. Our minds don't like uncertainty. We want resolution. That's why detective movies, mysteries, and cliffhangers are so captivating, and why sirens live in everyone's minds rent-free. If you resonate with the Siren, here's how to activate or amplify your magnetic pull. Your allure doesn't come from being a people pleaser or the loudest person in the room. It comes from quiet confidence, self-assurance, and not giving everything away. It's okay to leave some details unsaid that actually strengthens your pull. You don't need to be bubbly, overly friendly, or light if it doesn't feel natural to you. If you're a Siren, forcing bubbliness often dulls your magnetism instead of enhancing it. You know that TikTok trend, I wanted to be the sun, but I was the moon? That perfectly describes how tapping into your natural archetype makes you 100 times more alluring than trying to imitate one you're not aligned with. Want to amplify your Siren energy even more? This next part is crucial. The Siren magnetizes visually and through movement. Move slowly, deliberately. I don't mean walk unnaturally in slow motion, but don't rush. Own the space you're in. When you speak, don't rush your words. Think about sirens like Angelina Jolie. Have you noticed how she speaks? Speak like what you're saying matters, because it does. Finally, sirens aren't chaotic. They're quietly powerful. If you want to go deeper into calm as a form of power, definitely watch my Carla mindset video after you finish this one. But stay with me here, because your allure works very differently depending on your secondary archetypes. Knowing your secondary and even third archetype is what makes magnetism truly effortless. Next up, the Charmer. Now, if the Siren felt completely off, this one might be for you. The Charmer is the sun to the Siren's moon. Unlike the Siren, who pulls through desire and mystique, the Charmer pulls through emotional comfort and delight. She makes people feel lighter, happier, and more at ease, and that feeling becomes addictive. Charmers are usually social, or at least very good with people. They know how to make others feel seen, comfortable, and genuinely feel good about themselves. Think Think Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, Enid from Wednesday, Cher from Clueless, Serena Vanderwoodson from Gossip Girl, Dion from Clueless is also partially a Charmer archetype, Barbie, and Maxine from Ginny and Georgia season 1. Charmers make everyone feel welcome, and that's magnetic because on a psychological level, we're drawn to people who make us feel liked and accepted. If you resonate with this archetype, it's important not to fall into the trap of trying to be cool, distant, or mysterious, because you charm through light, openness, and emotional generosity. Pay attention to people, give meaningful compliments without overdoing it. And if you want to sharpen your social skills, social psychology and body language books can help a lot. I would recommend Cues or Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards, How to Talk to Anyone by Leigh Lomdels. I'm not sure how to pronounce the author's name actually. How to Win Friends and Influence People, a true classic, and The Like Switch by Jack Schaffer. I'll link them in the description if you want to check them out. But if you're a charmer, this next part is crucial. Take care of yourself, because when charmers give too much, they burn out. And burnt out charm turns into resentment or people pleasing. The third archetype, the coquette. She's confident and emotionally self-sufficient, blending charm, independence, and a touch of mystery. The coquette's biggest allure comes from her push and pull energy. She's playful, she can flirt, tease, or pull back without panic or neediness. Warm and flirty when she's with you, but just as okay without you. And because she's genuinely good either way, this often creates a hot and cold dynamic that people find addictive. Psychologically, this works on the same principle as slot machines: intermittent reinforcement. When there's no predictable reward schedule and affection or attention comes unexpectedly, our brains get hooked. We don't know when the reward will come, so we keep trying. It's the same reason social media feeds are so addictive. You keep refreshing, hoping for that hit. Now, this archetype can be very powerful in a healthy way, but if you resonate with it, you do need to be careful because it can turn toxic fast. So if you want to amplify the coquette without becoming manipulative, be a hobby girly. You need a life that's full enough that you genuinely feel good with or without someone. When you have interesting things going on, independence no longer has to be faked. From time to time, not replying immediately can happen naturally, not because you're staring at your phone with a timer like I used to do in high school, but because you're actually busy living your life. The coquette is slightly mysterious, and having things you care about, projects you're excited about, and a world that doesn't revolve around one person creates that effortless what is she up to energy. Serena Vanderwoodson from Gossip Girl is a great example of a partial coquette. She's always up to something new, becoming a muse, making headlines in the Hamptons, going to Paris, participating in fashion shows. Her habit of disappearing, combined with her bubbly magnetic presence when she is around, creates the push and pull dynamic that keeps people hooked. Ginny Miller from Ginny and Georgia also carries a coquette energy. Next up, one of my personal favorites, and one I resonate with the most, the dandy. The dandy blends feminine and masculine qualities. She's slightly androgynous and confident. She pays close attention to her style and uses self-expression as her main form of power. She often rejects traditional gender norms and expectations, and that's exactly where her allure comes from. The dandy represents liberation. Think Rebecca from Elite, Coco Chanel, Harley Quinn, Kinsey from Lock and Key, Jenny Humphrey from Gossip Girl, and Wednesday Addams, all either fully or partially fall into this archetype. The dandy's allure psychologically is rooted in two forces. First, she embodies freedom. Dandy breaks the norms and liberates from overtreaded paths. She doesn't feel the need to follow the rules. She makes her own. All of us desire freedom on a psychological level. It is a fundamental human need. Psychologically, the dandy becomes magnetic because people feel the liberation vicariously. Second, she mixes contradictions, and that makes her unforgettable. The dandy is soft but sharp, feminine but masculine, elegant but rowdy. Our brains love categorizing people because it helps us feel in control. And when someone doesn't fit neatly into a category, our mind is forced to pay more attention to them in order to understand them. And this makes them far more memorable. If you resonate with the dandy archetype and want to unlock or amplify your allure, lean into intentional self-expression. Your style isn't about trends or approval. It's It's about communicating who you are without explanation. Wear things that feel like you, even if they don't make sense to anyone else. Don't get trapped into the idea of picking an aesthetic. Mix whatever you want, even if they contradict. For instance, I feel quite close to this archetype and have always tried to pick a style because I liked contradictory ones. Grunge and girly. I've discovered that my best looks come from mixing, not choosing. Also, work on your confidence and not asking permission to exist. Dandy's allure comes from confidence and unapologetically contradicting the norms, not people-pleasing or downplaying. Next up, the charismatic. You know those people you can't help but follow? The ones who make you believe, not just in them, but in what they're saying and in something bigger than yourself. That's the charismatic. She has a powerful presence, a strong conviction, a clear sense of direction. A lot of politicians fall into this archetype, as well as figures like Steve Jobs, because charisma isn't about just being nice or pretty. It's about certainty, leadership, and a vision. The charismatic seduces by making people believe. She offers meaning, she offers direction, she gives people something to follow. Character examples include Miranda Priestly from Devil Wears Prada, Regina George from Mean Girls, Georgia Miller from Ginny and Georgia, Carla Caleruega from Elite, partially. Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl is also a partial charismatic, and Allison from Pretty Little Liars. The charismatic is larger than life. She's highly confident, and somehow the room organizes itself around her. Psychologically, her charisma works because humans crave leadership and clarity. When someone appears deeply certain, decisive, and grounded in their beliefs, our nervous system relaxes. We think, she knows what she's doing, I can follow that. If you resonate with the charismatic and want to activate it or amplify it, start with clarifying your vision. Charismatic always stands for something that others can get behind. If this archetype resonates with you, you probably already have seeds of a vision. Maybe there are certain ideas, values, or subjects you feel strongly about. It doesn't have to be world-changing. What matters is clarity, but just as crucial, the charismatic's allure begins with self-belief so strong that it becomes contagious. The charismatic never appears unsure, conflicted, or divided, even if she is privately. This doesn't mean suppressing doubt. It means doing the inner work so you can project coherence outward. Practice decisiveness. Cut down on hedging language like maybe, I think, kind of. Speak as if your words have weight, because they do. Don't rush to soften your point or seek approval mid-sentence. Work on your storytelling skills, especially emotional storytelling. Charismatics don't persuade through logic, they persuade through feeling. If you want a great book recommendation on this, The Science of Storytelling by Will Storr breaks this down beautifully. But here's a fair warning. This archetype may become addicted to power and admiration, often becoming manipulative. So remember not to let your desire for control turn into manipulation, and use your charisma to inspire, not to dominate. Next archetype, the natural. The natural magnetizes through spontaneity, sincerity, and childlike wonder. She kept the carefree essence we all had as children. She's easygoing, emotionally open, and embodies a free, unburdened energy. She lures people in through authenticity and emotional safety. Think Rapunzel, Hannah Marin from Pretty Little Liars, Serena van der Woodsen, Luna Lovegood, Pandora from Skins, Kitty from XO Kitty, Emily Cooper from Emily in Paris, Lorelai Gilmore from Gilmore Girls, Jules in season 1 of Euphoria, and maybe even Lara Jean Covey, but I'm not sure about that last one, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. Natural's allure lies in the fact that she embodies a deep human craving, the desire to let go and feel the joy, lightness, and carelessness that we associate with childhood. Her energy is contagious. Being around her reminds people of a version of themselves that felt more open, more hopeful, and less guarded. By satisfying that emotional craving, her presence becomes addictive. If you resonate with the natural archetype like I do and want to amplify it or activate it, first, don't be ashamed of your playful or childlike nature. You might feel pressure to act more serious, more composed, more grown, but suppressing that softness actually dims your magnetism. The more you allow yourself to stay curious, expressive, and light, the more attractive you become. Now, obviously, there are situations situation where seriousness is required. I'm not telling you to approach life irresponsibly. What I mean is don't hold back your joy when you don't have to. In the book, The Art of Seduction, the author Robert Greene also advises naturals to protect their innocence. Cynicism, becoming overly jaded, or trying to play power games works against this archetype. And one important thing to watch out for, don't let people mistake your openness for availability. You can be warm, playful, emotionally open without letting people cross your boundaries. The 7th archetype, the Star. The Star blends mystery and aspiration. She is that girl. The Star is independent, elevated, and glamorous. She is slightly elusive. She doesn't overshare her life. She feels visible but unreachable. There's often something almost spiritual about her, like she exists slightly above the everyday world. Think Beyonce, Audrey Hepburn, Lydia Martin from Teen Wolf, Zendaya, Lana Del Rey, and partially Maddy Perez. She magnetizes through aspiration and inspiration. She is also slightly out of reach. Psychologically, her allure works through projection. When information is limited, the mind steps in to complete the picture, usually in an idealized way, and the lack of details the Star provides to the nuts and bolts of her life allow those around to do just that. She's that girl you see on Instagram posting pictures of island hopping, modeling, or creative projects, and working out before her morning university lecture. Her life looks aspirational, yet you never know much of how it works or behind the scenes. If you resonate with the Star archetype, embody your inner that girl. Let your life speak through images, moments, atmosphere, rather than explanation. Though make sure not to be too distant. Have some warmth, because when people feel like someone's too cold and too perfect, that's when aspiration turns into revulsion. Finally, the archetype that can sometimes act as a warning sign, the ideal lover. The ideal lover is caring, attentive, deeply empathetic. She remembers everything about you. She supports you, comforts you, cooks for you, and makes you feel understood. The ideal lover seduces by becoming the living embodiment of another person's fantasy. She studies what someone longs for emotionally, romantically, and even psychologically, and then she mirrors it back. Think Cassie from Euphoria. She doesn't want someone to love her. She wants to be everything the other person desires, often molding herself right to their fantasies. In my opinion, this archetype is either highly manipulative or a trap you can lose yourself in, because the ideal lover's allure is centered almost entirely around the other person's needs, wants, and fantasies. She adapts, reshapes herself, and gives, often forgetting to ask, what do I want? When seduction starts to erase your personality, it is no longer powerful. So take this archetype as something to look out for in yourself and what to usually avoid doing. And if you noticed something interesting, almost every one of these archetypes has one thing in common, whether it's the Siren, the Charismatic, or the Star. Their allure isn't loud. It's composure, emotional regulation, and calm, unshakable confidence. If you want to know how to cultivate that and push your allure even further, I explain it in detail in my Carla Rason mindset video. Click here to watch that one next. And let me know in the comments which archetypes you resonate with the most. Mine are the Dandy, the Natural, and I think maybe the Charmer. I hope you guys like this video, and I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!